We're turning now to developments in the Rust film set shooting investigation. The FBI finding that the gun held by Alec Baldwin could not have been fired without someone pulling the trigger. Matt Gutman is in Los Angeles with more on that. Good morning to you, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Amy. That FBI report also concluded that the gun seemed to be functioning normally, that it could not be made to fire without the trigger being pulled. Now, the main focus of the investigation continues to be how live ammunition got on the set, but this report does seem to contradict Baldwin's insistence that he never pulled the trigger.
This morning, that analysis from the FBI revealing new details about the investigation into the deadly shooting on the set of the movie Rust. One of the FBI's key findings after testing the firearm, the agency concluding the gun could not be made to fire without a pull of the trigger. The report apparently contradicting what Baldwin insisted in an interview with George last December.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
Baldwin's attorney releasing this statement exclusively to ABC News, saying the FBI report is being misconstrued. The gun fired in testing only one time without having to pull the trigger when the hammer was pulled back and the gun broke in two different places. The FBI was unable to fire the gun in any prior test, even when pulling the trigger, because it was in such poor condition. But the big question still remains, how exactly did live rounds end up on the set and in that gun? Baldwin's attorney doubling down, saying that Baldwin was told by the person in charge of safety on the set that the gun was cold and believed that the gun was safe. That FBI lab report concluding that of the 4 people they tested, the only prints that were found on the ammunition box were from 2 of Rust armor Hannah Gutierrez-Reed's fingers. Gutierrez-Reed's attorney in a statement was adamant that his client is being used as a scapegoat, saying fingerprints or DNA from more than 4 people were omitted, and he added that reported workplace safety issues created the prime environment for tragedy. In that interview, Baldwin describing the moment he shot cinematographer Helena Hutchins, saying he only followed her instructions.
That she was, well, just cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit like that. And then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
The Office of the Medical Investigator saying that based on all available information, including the absence of obvious intent to cause harm or death, the manner of death is best classified as accident. But the Santa Fe County District Attorney has maintained that nothing is off the table.
There's no evidence that this was intentional. This was clearly an accident, but perhaps a criminal accident. Just because something is an accident doesn't mean that a criminal act didn't occur.
Now, the FBI report itself notes the limitations of these kinds of forensic tests. As for what's next, this is still an active investigation. It has not yet been turned over to the DA. In fact, they're waiting for Alec Baldwin's phone records. But again, the most important focus for investigators right now is how multiple live rounds of ammunition got on a set that should not have had any. Amy.
All right, Matt, thanks so much for that. And for more, let's bring back ABC News Chief Legal Analyst Dan Abrams. And Dan, so we obviously heard Alec Baldwin telling George that he did not pull the trigger. Now this report says someone, the FBI says someone must have pulled the trigger. What does this mean for Alec Baldwin and any potential criminal charges?
Well, look, it's certainly not helpful to him to have this kind of discrepancy. But I still don't think that that's going to mean there'll be criminal charges filed against Baldwin. I still think that those are unlikely. But this could be used against him in the context of a civil case. And there are a number of civil cases out there against Alec Baldwin, where various people, including Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, could basically be saying that this showed negligence on the part of Alec Baldwin. And I think that is very significant here with regard to the civil cases as opposed to the criminal.
Dan, what do you make of Baldwin's attorney saying that this FBI investigation is being misconstrued?
Look, I think it's a typical argument from an attorney, right, who's saying that it's being taken out of context, it's not that definitive, there was more testing done, etc. But the number one issue is the fact that Alec Baldwin gave these statements at all. Look, there's a reason that lawyers don't like their clients speaking when there's an ongoing investigation. And this is a perfect example of it, because now Alec Baldwin's words are being used against him, even in the civil context.
Dan Abrams, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.